Crowdfunding sites such as Kickstarter, Indiegogo and GoFundMe are filled with absolutely brilliant ideas, campaigns that breathe new life into niche products as well as new innovative designs and concepts. But you don't care about any of that. You want to look into the terrible ideas, right?
I wanna take
Oh yes! For every brilliant idea you have a whole heap of horrendous ones that make you stop and think, wait, who the hell would ever come up with something like this? And that's what we're going to be looking at today as we look back at the back catalogue and look at 5 of the most stupid ideas ever to come out of Kickstarter. Plus, one extra campaign too. You'll understand why when we get there. Welcome to Slope's Game Room.
What would you do if the world ended? God, that's a nice way to start an episode, right? Calm down there, Slopes. No, we gotta take this stuff seriously. What if a nuclear holocaust went down? An earthquake? EMPs? What would you do? Well, let's be honest with ourselves. We'd all pretty much be dead. You know what we should have done? We really should have prepared for something like this and got ourselves a nice little nuclear bunker full of baked beans. Well, lucky for us, Stephen Lawson seems to know something we don't, and he's got our backs. Thanks, Stephen. Introducing the Indoratus, an under-shelter system designed to look after 500 lovely humans for up to 3 years. And best of all, you can sign up via Kickstarter. The Indoratus was a $4,945,000 Canadian dollar project that, like I said, was designed to protect up to 500 people. And if we was going to do the maths, that's roughly about $9,890 each. To be fair, that's not all that bad for 3 extra years of life. Let's be honest, you're not going to actually be paying for anything when you're down there, are you? Well, that's where you would be wrong. Because whilst your silly friends and families are dying up in agonising pain above the surface, you and 499 clever investors get to live out the Holocaust in style, as the bunker would feature a spa with steam room, restaurants, bars, refreshments, swimming pool, including angel statues of course, a lounge deck, beauty care, don't forget all that important technology. You even got the all-important Asian beach and thermal baths. You literally have everything you need to live a life of luxury whilst the world dies and repairs itself, hopefully, within 3 years above you. There is just one, well actually there's quite a few problems, but the big one is that I can't find any mention on this bloody campaign that actually states that a spot will be reserved for me, the backer. Nope. None of the reward tiers actually secure you a spot. But instead, you can slap down $1,000 and get yourself a nice Indoratus cap showing a sun rising over the earth. Bloody hell, I hope postage is included in the world's most expensive hat. Actually, the most expensive hat in the world is the Pope's tiara, which is worth an estimated 10 million, but that doesn't work for the joke. The only other tier you will find is a whopping $7,950, where you can get a nice colour laminated picture showing system components integrated into one picture. Absolutely crazy. So, who's this for? I don't know. The Kickstarter, without a video again, reads more like a construction document than a crowdfunding page, and apparently Stage 1, which included all the system components, has already been purchased for $450,000. And if this is true, you gotta give Stephen credit for believing in his project that much. However, he probably shouldn't had. Not only did this wafty goal of almost 5 million Canadian dollars obviously not hit its goal with only one backer slapping down $1, but sadly less than 2 years later Stephen appeared again. Not on Kickstarter, but instead on GoFundMe. Turns out Stephen no longer has any money and is now living in his Toyota. The GoFundMe campaign needs a hefty $46,700 for some reason, and well, it's far, far from it. Reading through the updates is pretty upsetting in all honesty. This guy's lost his family because his wife left him for a younger model. He got fired, pranksters messed up his car, profilers destroyed his car. And if the whole thing is true, it's not only strange, but a really sad ending for our first conspiracy theorist.
And before going ahead, why not check out Instant Gaming, where you can get yourself Nintendo Switch, Steam, Switch 2, PlayStation 4 and 5, and Xbox keys, all with huge discounts. Instant Gaming is not a marketplace type key site, meaning that all keys are purchased directly from the source, and unlike some other sites, they do not allow outsiders to sell dodgy or possibly stolen keys. Once they're gone, they're gone. In fact, no matter what you buy, if you use the link below and get games like, for instance, Elden Ring Night Rain for 22% off, Expedition 33 for 42% off, Stellar Blade for 27% off, or personal favourite, Capcom Fighting Collection 2 for 31% off, then you'll be supporting the show. Instant Gaming have been a huge help during the channel's recent trouble, so please do go get yourself some cheap games and support the show at the same time.
Here's a nice stupid one for you. We all know what it's like when you're out and about and there's that one guy that seems to have absolutely no manners at all. Talking loudly right next to you on his phone, putting you off whatever it is you're doing. It's as if he's completely unaware that you even exist. Well, what better way to fight this rude behaviour than with Yap Attack? You see, this moody old fart, Mark Fusselow, had such an issue with rude phone users that he decided to make probably the most simplest app ever created. A screen with 6 big fat buttons on them that play 6 annoying noises, basically turning you into the annoying phone user. Now, I'm not sure about you, but pushing my phone into the face of some idiot is only going to end up in your phone being slapped out of your hand and smashed. Thanks, Mark. Stuff like this ends up on Kickstarter all the time, and it's so incredibly obvious that it will never hit its $15,000 goal. $15,000 for a screen with 6 buttons playing MP3s? Now, obviously, I'm not an app developer, but come on guys, isn't $15,000 a tad excessive? Obviously, the campaign failed, even with the reward tiers that included your name on their website as a Nobel Peace Prize winner, a t-shirt and promise of becoming a YouTube sensation, which 2 people actually backed by the way, and the 3 totally not photo bucket images, where they got totally true testimonials. Such a half-assed project. In the risk and challenges section, they put down that the biggest issue was going to be the fact that they may have trouble listing all the names on their website. I don't think so, guys. Here we have some versatile headphones that turn into speakers. The title says it all right. They act like normal headphones, but then when flipped around, they change into portable speakers that apparently, according to the campaign video, makes people want to stop what they're doing and dance around you on the spot. And besides this, everything else is your standard fare. They work like standard Bluetooth headphones, as in they can be used to make calls or even play on your Nintendo Switch, something that PlayStation and Microsoft can't do, by the way. And that's it. Without a doubt, the big selling point here though is giving backers the ability to have a 2-in-1 device that doubles as a portable speaker, so you can be one of those chavs on the bus that annoys people playing Pure Garage 2 with slightly better audio quality than a tinny BlackBerry does. Yeah, I haven't been on a bus in decades, but I'm sure this is still the case, right? Regardless, thanks to the awesomely shot video with all of those actors that just couldn't believe that these speakers pump out music, the campaign
was a success. It pulled in €73,297 of a €10,000 target, and they managed to get a further €90,313 over on Indiegogo with their second campaign too. And yes, these are just AliExpress, Alibaba, whatever, flipped products. I suppose it's really up to you, isn't it? You can spend the equivalent of $54.50 over on AliExpress, or, and hear me out, you could spend $164 plus postage for them over on Indiegogo. Look at that, it's a 21% off. Not bad, not bad. Which is exactly what 1,895 backers did between the two platforms. Thankfully for them, on Kickstarter, they also got extras like hard cases and extra pads, which, according to the comments, almost nobody received. What they did get, however, was, this is the best bit, they received earphones that were all rebranded AliExpress flipped products that were printed, and I mean all of them were printed, the wrong way round. As in the left ear goes on the right and vice versa.
Oh my god, you are so right. I was putting the right to my right ear as it was labeled. I was experiencing a very tough clamping force. I was about to come here and yell my head off about how it was hurting my head, but your suggestion worked.
Ah, Sky. One of the only online video reviews I found online showed that only one side of the headphones worked as a loudspeaker. The audio quality, as you would expect, was absolutely terrible according to everyone. They were extremely late at sending them out, and according to one of their own updates, 6% got lost in transit. There's no way to get them back, and they can't offer refunds. Okay, thanks, bye! And finally, virtually all of these headphones either stopped working on arrival or stopped working soon after due to the defective batteries found inside. But hey, that's the gamble you take when you pay a little amount of money for an expensive product over on AliExpress, but actually you pay a lot of money over on a crowdfunding site for the same item. Since then, the company has completely gone silent. Its website and therefore its email is no longer active, and that's the end of that. Not the worst way to earn yourself a cool 150k, is it? Apparently one of the biggest issues with games such as Hearthstone and Magic the Gathering when playing online is that you don't actually own the cards that you buy. Sure, you think you do. You buy a pack of digital cards online hoping to get the one you want. Whether you do or don't, it doesn't matter, because unlike real world Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or even just physical standard cards, you don't physically own these digital cards. What I mean by this is that you can't open a super rare shiny and sell it for bucket loads on eBay, or swap it with your friends on your lunch break for whatever you fancy in their packed lunchbox, because it's simply a digital image. Well, never fear, because Zombie Battleground is here, a game where you literally own the cards that you buy as NFTs forever on the blockchain, and can therefore trade them directly with other players on a massive P2P marketplace for real crypto money. It was a Kickstarter that needed $250,000 and it gained $321,606 from 1,693 backers. For someone like me that has never actually dabbled in any kind of crypto, blockchain, NFT type stuffs, if I was more of a fan of digital card collecting, I would have actually been the perfect candidate for a campaign like this. Being able to quickly see what my cards are worth, the value history of those items, and a quick and easy way to swap or sell them, it just seems perfect. The campaign was expecting to get released in May of 2019, and even though it did get a name change to Relentless, it did get released, and for the most part, people seem to quite like it, even getting a small dedicated group of followers to create their own Discord and Facebook groups based around this one game. And then, it all went away. Sure, people were still playing the game and the developers working on it at Loom were still teasing upcoming updates, something that a game like this desperately needs, but those updates either never came or were completely bare bones. The original trio that launched the campaigns were pushing themselves further and further away from the fans, even shouting out against them when those fans reached out. And then surprisingly in October of 2019, update number 66 showcased a surprising addition to the almost dead game, and that was that the game was now going to be open source. And then once again, it all went silent. That was until September of 2020 when Delanka, one of the marketing collaborators of the project, spoke out about what exactly had happened. Yep, that's his website. Turns out that the three dudes seen in the trailer were not as interested about this game as they led on. Turns out, after attending the 2019 Pocket Gamer Connects convention, they sat in on a talk that went into detail about how the future of blockchain gaming was at an end. There was no future in this field, according to whatever speaker they was listening to, and in retaliation, the trio decided to go back to their offices and fire everybody involved, including Delanka, and simply stop all communication to the backers. Stupidly, in the process of firing everybody, one thing they didn't do was revoke the access of those fired employees on Kickstarter, which is how we found out about everything with the update, "This project is dead." The post goes into detail about how the entire Fire team were forced to not let anybody know that the game had stopped development when these developers would try to convince the top dogs to not let the public know, some of which were still addicted to this game. The response was always going to be no. What made matters worse was that the game was supposed to include easy-to-use NFT-like card collecting, again for simpletons like myself that didn't have much of a grasp on all things crypto. Well, sadly, it didn't. People can just fork base chain if they want, was the normal terribly angry response that the management would give people like Delanka. And I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't know how to fork something if it forked me in the eye.
I don't know.
This wasn't the end result that people had paid serious good money for. It was a get-rich-quick scheme, and even though for the hardcore amount of backers, it wasn't about the gameplay that, with every single update, actually ended up being eerily similar to Hearthstone, but obviously not as good, it was more about the unique way of playing with real collectible NFTs, a feature that simply was just never fully integrated properly, and therefore goes against everything that those campaigners were promising from the get-go. In short, it was a game that was dropped by its money-hungry managers at the drop of a hat with absolutely no explanation ever given by them after they saw that the world of crypto was apparently in a bit of a slump and listened to some random dude's predictions at a mobile gaming convention. That was until Delanka went ahead and posted everything that went wrong with this project, making sure to add backups of this post, expecting it to be taken down within minutes. However, a year later, it still sits front and center as the latest update for the game that quite a few individuals sunk some serious money into. 4 backers even dropped $10,000 each for this. And by the way, guys, think about it, the game has technically come out, so these campaign owners do not need to give anybody a refund. This whole reveal just shows everybody just how terribly unorganized and uncaring these individuals running this campaign truly are. 3 individuals that apparently now create applications for the healthcare sector. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And to finish off, let's chat about the Kickstarter Find New Friends and chat via real-time video from IP cameras. This rather creepy campaign from the StalkChat team, yes, that's really their name, is a real and currently live Kickstarter campaign as of the scripting of this video on its 3rd attempt at getting funded. Now, thankfully again, this will obviously fail, and if the title didn't give it away, this is what it's all about. StalkChat, yes, that's literally what they are called, lets you stalk people from around the world using facial recognition technology, I presume. Like some sort of pervy watchdog, you choose your victim, your new friend, and send them a message via the StalkChat application. Hello, dude. Hey, what's up? I saw you at StalkChat's camera in Chilla Vista Center. Yeah, there is a nice weather out here. What? What sort of world do these people live in when they think you can stalk people and then go out for drinks straight away after? Without a doubt, this is the creepiest campaign I have probably ever seen, and the owners simply just do not get the hint that nobody wants this. Other than, I don't know, except for maybe, this guy?
Wait, who is that? Time for that one extra segment.
This is David Stevens of Stevens Greetings, a gentleman with a dream to raise $1,200 to pay for the self-publication of 2 children's picture/poem books. As many as 18 books will follow and will be funded in part with royalties from previous book sales. Fair enough. I mean, it's a bit odd that he's gone to GoFundMe for this as opposed to one of the other websites, as that's not really what GoFundMe is all about, but still, it's harmless. Until you look into the history of this douche. Yep, this douche right here. Now I know what you're thinking. That's a pretty terrible picture, right? Well, here's another. Ah yes, that's better. This one's taken from the official sex offender register list website that details that his crime was, well, you can read what it says. It's absolutely sickening, and it's way worse than that time that he was arrested for taking a picture up a girl's skirt at an Albuquerque gas station. I imagine that's the reason why he moved state. Thankfully, not only did this not get anywhere near funded, I believe he got to around about $10 before news started spreading about who he actually was, which resulted in GoFundMe taking down the campaigns and Facebook removing any groups related to Stevens Greetings. Time to move on, I'd say.